I'd always heard the warnings about picking up hitchhikers, but that night the rain was pouring like a curtain of despair, and my windshield wipers were losing the battle against the downpour. The desolate highway stretched endlessly ahead, and my headlights cut through the darkness like a feeble candle in a cavernous void. I was tired, and the empty passenger seat seemed to beckon me to end my loneliness for a moment. That's when I saw her, standing by the side of the road, drenched and shivering in the cold rain. Her thumb was out, and her eyes locked onto mine with a pleading desperation that tugged at my heartstrings. Without thinking, I pulled over and rolled down the window. "Need a ride?" I asked, my voice quivering as much as she was. She smiled, a weary but grateful expression. "Thank you," she whispered as she clambered into the car. Her clothes were soaked, and her hair clung to her face like tendrils of darkness. "Where are you headed?" I inquired, trying to keep the unease from my voice. "Just a little farther down the road," she replied, her voice soft and soothing. "I appreciate this more than you can imagine." We drove in silence for a while, the only sounds the drumming of rain on the roof and the occasional thunderclap that lit up the world in stark, eerie flashes. I couldn't help but glance at her from time to time, her presence somehow both comforting and unsettling. As we continued down the desolate highway, the tension in the car began to mount. Her gaze never left the road, but I could feel it, like a weight on my skin, heavy and insistent. I cleared my throat, trying to break the silence. "So, what's your name?" I asked, my voice cracking. She turned to me, her eyes black as the night itself. "Call me Lily," she replied with that same haunting smile. I forced a smile in return, but my heart raced in my chest. Something was wrong, very wrong. Lily seemed out of place, as if she didn't belong in this world. Her clothes were old-fashioned, and there was an air of timelessness about her. We drove on, the rain showing no signs of letting up. My unease grew with each passing mile. I couldn't shake the feeling that I had made a terrible mistake. Lily's eyes never left the road, and her smile never wavered, but I could sense something lurking beneath the surface. Suddenly she spoke, her voice low and hypnotic. "Do you ever wonder what lies beyond the veil of reality?" I blinked, taken aback by the question. "What do you mean?" Her black eyes bore into mine. "There are places where the fabric of reality is thin, where the boundaries between this world and the next are blurred, places where the dead can cross over into the realm of the living." My heart pounded in my chest as I realized the truth. "You're not real," I stammered. "You're a ghost, a spirit, aren't you?" Lily's smile widened, revealing teeth as white as marble. "Very perceptive," she whispered. I slammed on the brakes, the tires screeching as the car came to a halt on the rain-soaked highway. I could feel her presence, her cold, otherworldly energy enveloping me. "What do you want from me?" I demanded, my voice trembling. She leaned in close, her breath icy against my ear. "I need a way back to the land of the living," she hissed. "And you're going to help me." I was paralyzed with fear, unable to move or speak. Lily's dark eyes bore into mine, and I felt myself slipping into a trance, my willpower draining away. "Listen carefully," she said, her voice a seductive whisper. "You will drive me to the old cemetery at the edge of town. There, you will perform a ritual to open the gateway between worlds. Once it's done, I'll be free to return to the land of the living, and you will have the privilege of joining me on the other side." I had no choice but to obey. The rain continued to pour, and the highway stretched on, endless and desolate. As we approached the old cemetery, I could feel a sense of dread unlike anything I had ever experienced. I parked the car near the cemetery gates, and Lily led me to a crumbling mausoleum. Inside, she instructed me to light a series of candles and draw strange symbols on the cold stone floor. As the ritual progressed, I felt a presence in the mausoleum, a darkness that seemed to seep from the very walls themselves. Lily's smile never wavered as she chanted in a language I couldn't understand. Suddenly, the ground beneath me trembled, and the air grew thick with malevolence. I knew that something terrible was about to happen, something that would change my life forever. With a deafening roar, the ground split open, revealing a gaping chasm of darkness. From the depths of the abyss, a horde of shadowy figures emerged, their eyes burning with hunger. I screamed as they closed in, their cold, ethereal hands reaching for me. Lily's laughter echoed in my ears as I was dragged into the abyss, my world descending into a never-ending nightmare. The rain continued to pour and the highway stretched on, empty and desolate as if nothing had ever happened. The only evidence of my existence was the abandoned car by the cemetery gates, a silent testament to the horror that had unfolded on that fateful night. Please subscribe and hit the like button to support this channel for more scary horror stories, and please leave a comment too.